Hello, my name is John, Gamester81, and this is a walkthrough of Vintage Stock. This is the second one in Springfield, Missouri. I did a walkthrough of the first one in Springfield not too long ago. But they have a chain of stores all throughout the Midwest. And Vintage Stock, in case you guys aren't familiar with them, are a chain of stores. They sell vintage video games, vintage collectibles. It's definitely high heaven for me for sure. But they have, as you can see, they have in the middle, they've got these glass case, and this is generally where they keep a lot of their valuable stuff. So I usually migrate to the center here and take a look. A lot of baseball cards, as you can see. You know, some of these are hundreds of dollars or more, which is interesting. But you know, people collect. There's a market for it. A lot of Magic cards as well. Here's coming into some gaming, Game Boy Advances, all those systems. You know, a lot of systems. A ton of games are in those cardboard boxes down there. And this is generally where they keep the most, you know, the uncommon games as well. You know, Donkey Kong Country 2, you know, games like that. Here coming out some PS1 games. There's Diablo 1 for the PlayStation 1, a fairly uncommon game. Final Fantasy 7, of course, many of us are familiar with. And some Q*bert. There's Game Gear games, NES Super Techno Bowl, Miracle Piano for NES, and Final Fantasy boxed. Not too many boxed games overall, most of them are loose. They also have a lot of comics, so if you're into comic books, they have collectibles, as I mentioned before. These are coming into the area in the back corner of the store. They have vintage items. This is a Star Wars cabinet, and it's cool because a lot of these items are unopened. There's a Droids vehicle right there from the Droid cartoon, really rare. And you know, everything's really decently priced here. Well, generally what I do when I'm at a store like this, I usually go down to my smartphone, my eBay app, and look at completed auctions and kind of see what they've sold for, and that will give you a good idea as far as what things are selling for. And generally it's around there or less, to be honest with you, Vintage Stock. So big kudos to them for not really overpricing things. Nothing worse than that. In the other cabinet, they have G.I. Joe figures, and they have Transformer figures here, and this one is more Transformers. I loved Transformers growing up as a kid. I had one that was like shaped like a radio, and even had, you could put little mini cassette tapes into it and it would transform into a Transformer. Pretty cool. Good to see a resurgence with the movies and stuff too. A whole bunch of Simpsons toys and G.I. Joe. I had a bunch of G.I. Joe figures growing up. My mom threw a lot of them out though, or gave them away in charity, or did something with them, garage sale, I don't know, but I was not very happy when I found out that she did that. But you know, everything's, you know, individually priced and pretty reasonable. Here, He-Man figures, a lot of He-Man figures. Those He-Man figures sell for quite a bit of money. There's a lot of high demand for He-Man figures nowadays because of just nostalgic reasons, I think. A lot of DVDs here at Vintage Stock, and used DVDs. There's a T-Rex Jurassic Park by Kenner, came out I think '93. I had that exact same T-Rex growing up, and the skin was cool because I like the feel real skin, or real feel skin, and here's some more cards. They had Garbage Pail Kids, totally remember those. Also have a ton of shelves of vintage games like PS1 games. They're all alphabetical. Here is Rampage World Tour, based on arcade. And some posters. On the other side, they have some more PS1 games, including some of the long box ones, some of the first games for the system, Sega CD games, and Saturn games. As you can see, they have a handful of sporting titles, which you see a lot of places like this, but they also had stuff like, you know, Warcraft 2 that they show right there, Dreamcast games. Love the Dreamcast. Very underrated system. I think a lot of people appreciate it now, but back then, there's a Mega Drive game. They didn't have too many imports, to be honest. A lot of them were just domestic games, but this is not a place really to look for import games, but a ton of Genesis games, for sure. And on the other side, N64, Cruis'n USA, classic. You know, Star Wars Racer, Pokemon, Army Men, you know, GoldenEye, they definitely had that. And then, I mean, unbelievable amount of Super Nintendo games here, really. And everything's priced anywhere from like $2 and up, but you know, usually I think it was around $4.99 is probably your average Super Nintendo price for a game. And I think there's a lot to be said to have the actual game rather than just a ROM on a computer. I think I like personally having the tangible copy of the cart and playing it on the real hardware compared just to a ROM on a computer. Super Street Fighter 2, great port to Super Nintendo. A lot of NES games. And they had some systems for sale too, in case you guys are wondering. Those are generally on the other side of the wall of the store. And oftentimes they're not really in boxes. Here is a lot of Atari 2600 games mixed in with Intellivision and ColecoVision games. Those were generally like $1 or $2 each. Pretty reasonable. And some more Star Trek figures and X-Men figures. But overall, this is a fantastic place. It's called Vintage Stock. I'll put a link below. They're all throughout the Midwest. If you're ever near one, I definitely recommend checking them out. I just want to say a big thank you to them for allowing me to film in their great shop and allowing me to share it with you guys. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Let me know if you've ever been to a Vintage Stock or if you have a store like this by where you live. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you soon. Take care.